Hey guys, welcome back to some more AFK Arena. Today we're over on the free-to-play account and we're getting into the Abyssal Expedition. Want to go through some tips and tricks, guys, and if you know any additional ones, definitely let me know below in the comments. Also, let me know which you went, guys. Are you going with the warriors? Are you going with the tanks? Are you doing mages, rangers? Let me know what you're doing. But again, I want to run through some of the tips and tricks that can really help you set up for the Abyssal Expedition. Number one, guys, choosing your class. So if you're going warrior, tank, ranger, mage, those are really the only options. I do not recommend going support at all, just because when you choose one primary class, you're going to have the support there as support through the Star of Dawn. And essentially, you're going to build one class. So let's say it's warriors, for instance. Support is going to be the second tree that you build once you get warriors up to a certain point. That way you can do damage on the boss. Now, if you do not build that, or if you build it a different way, majority of players are not going to be able to hit the boss limits that you want to get on the boss until you get very high with the buffs or with the essentially the relics that we'll look at in just a minute. Now, you can also kind of buff this up a couple ways, guys. Number one, collections. Putting collections on your heroes in this game mode is absolutely huge, guys. It is really a major difference when it comes to this game mode. The collections do make a big difference. So make sure that you have your heroes with collections when you're going in there, making sure they are built. Now, in addition, if you really want to tweak it just a little bit, guys, you can also go in and you can adjust your elder tree. So you can actually build this onto whatever you're building. So essentially, again, let's say, for instance, we are choosing warrior. We could choose warrior and we could go ahead and choose support. Those would be the two primaries that I'm going to build all the way up. If I was going in there in a tank spec, I would probably drop out a ranger just because of the ranger classification specifically and put it all into a different tree. And again, this is going to cost you a little bit of diamonds, but overall, if you want to go this route, you definitely can. Now, in addition, guys, there are a couple beasts that do incredibly well in this game mode. Unfortunately, the Slumbering Seal is not one of them. Talisman does really well. We know that the Phantasmoth does well. We know the Owl does well. And we also know that Blade Ridge is another pet that does really well. Panda might be a little bit too new. We're going to have to see exactly where he comes out. But overall, guys, he is super cute. But again, we're going to have to see exactly where these pets are played out. And if you checked out the video that I did, so if you look back at a couple videos that we uploaded, we actually covered Ciro's guide. So again, depending on the heroes, and this is the point, you have to take a really hard look at the heroes you have and figure out exactly which classification you're going to build and which heroes you're going to move forward. For instance, right here, looking at my warriors, you know, I have Remen here, I have Entendre, I have Brutus. Warriors not super strong because I don't have Athalia. Brutus is built up a little bit. Looking at the tanks, looking pretty strong. I have 4 of them that are actually built. Rangers, again, looking pretty strong. We have 5 of them built. Mages, kind of the same. We still do have Ainz in here, but we have 6 of our mages built. Now, one thing to recommend as well, or remember, with the mages as well, it is very difficult because mages, even though they do a considerable amount of damage, they don't have a lot of defensive capacity. So when you're going through the Abyssal Expedition, it does make it a little bit harder to actually go through the game mode based on who you have. But even looking here, guys, we have Belinda, we have Demia, we have a couple very strong heroes for the mage spec. But again, mage, you're going to have to couple probably a little bit earlier with support. Very tough for mage to run on its own. Warrior, tank, and ranger both do incredibly well when they're going through the Abyssal Expedition. For actually, I think the first 6 seasons, 5-6 seasons, we ran ranger every single time. It was by far the best. Then, of course, with the awakened version of Brutus, that kind of changed it up a little bit. And then also the changes with our tank classification, which does give you a bonus, which we'll look at right now, guys. So the Abyssal Expedition, you can see we're going to hop in here. You can either go on the west side or you can go on the south side, depending where you are. Right now, looking at 12 players on the south. I'm going to hop in here, guys, and I'm going to show you kind of how this works. If this is your first time to the Abyssal Expedition, welcome. So first thing you always want to do, come in here, guys, go ahead and cultivate. Now, cultivating in here is going to yield you a 20% bonus by putting, as you can see, it says right there, a Graveborn hero in here. So I'm going to drop a hero in there. Now, right now, it is quiet time for 2 more hours. Once the Abyssal Expedition starts, it gives you a 4-hour window to actually kick this off before it does go live. And you can see the essence that we're getting right here at 48. Now, when you come in, and again, if you've played it for a while, you also do get a Blessed Relic right off the bat. So whatever classification that you chose that you are going to be running within this Abyssal expedition, go ahead and pick it now. If you're going with the warrior, the ranger, or the tank, those are really my advisements. Now, the big thing to remember with the tank spec is this one right here, guys. Heroes receiving this blessing are immune to negative effects caused by settlements. As you start getting into your T5, 6, 7s, and 8s, they do have negative effects which are negated by the tank class. Now, I believe the last two Abyssal expeditions on S9 and S10, we did run the tank spec. It works incredibly well just because of this endurance spec. But then again, guys, the warrior tree is super, super strong as well because of that awakened version of Brutus. You have Zolrath in there, you have Saurus, you have Antandra, you have a couple very, very strong heroes. So in this one, guys, I am actually going to go in here with the warriors. So I'm going to pick up a two of these. Now at the beginning, I pick up this top right one or the bottom left one. These are the two ones, guys. So you do have a little bit of defense, gives you some insight and some tenacity. This one, of course, is a lot of attack accuracy, so you make sure you hit, and then insight in there. So I'm going to go ahead and combine this, and there we go. Don't show this again. Now we have one right there. It also gave us enough for a second one. Again, knowing that we're going to be going warrior in this one, I'm going to go ahead and pick this one because HP, I mean, look at it. I mean, 1,125K, 75K attack. This is going to make it really easy when we start slotting heroes and when we start moving through this game mode. Now, with the hero slots, you can see we have 80 in each slot. So what I'm going to do right here is we are going to place a hero, again, based on the warriors. I'm going to start with Brutus, and I'm going to start with Ulna. Now, this is a super strong warrior combination to actually start this with. And this means I'm going to take these two heroes, guys, and we are going to see exactly where we are, which literally we're in the bottom right all by ourselves. So that means we're going to have to path up to some of these other players. And I'm going to slot, you know what, one more hero in here. Just thinking of the warrior that can probably do it by themselves. Rem, I think, can, but I'm going to go ahead and put Antandra in here. So what I'm doing right here is Antandra is going to be used for pathing. What I mean by that, guys, is we're actually going to move over here to our right. And I believe Antandra is going to be strong enough to path through here. I hope that she's going to be strong enough. Now, of course, with our beasts, you can do the same, guys. Make sure that you put your beasts in here at the very beginning because they're going to be strong. Now, Seal, as much as we love them, not going the Seal, guys. I am going with Talisman in this one. And then we do have a Radish. We have a couple 9s in here. We could go with the Winged Lion, but I'm going to go right here with our Moth to go ahead and build these two off the front. But again, I'm hoping that it is going to be strong enough in here that Antandra can take this down. And again, this is a free-to-play account, guys. It's a little bit of a different build, but I'm hoping, again, based on Antandra's build, based on the ultimate ability, and really the survival aspect that she does have, even though we might be a little bit off with the HP right here, or with the timer to get 3 stars, we'll get 2 stars, no problem. 1 and 2, and there we go. So we only use a couple stamina. We got a little bit of it back, and we took another area. We're going to path all the way. And again, we're trying to connect. When you first get into the Abyssal Expedition, guys, you want to path as fast as possible, getting these together. And again, I'm hoping with the relics that we have in Antandra, we shouldn't have a problem pathing through here. A lot of players use the awakened version of Thane works well. Orin works well. Again, looking at your heroes, making sure, which Rem probably could have worked in here, but I do like the survivability aspect that Antandra brings. Again, I'm hoping that we're going to get through here very, very easy. And I'm going to show you the logic and the reason why we're doing it this way, guys, based on the build and look based on the heroes. So some of these, we're even pulling all 3 stars in there, which is good to see. I'm skipping the timer in here. Now, when we get to our tiers, so these are tier 1s, tier 2s, might be able to even take tier 3s in here. But when we're actually looking to fight, I'm going to drop her out. These are going to be the 2 units. And again, thinking kind of a little bit newer into AFK Arena, we're just going to hit Prince in here. We're not going for rank. We're not going for anything of that nature. But looking in here, guys, again, this is going to be your 2 heroes that are farming to go ahead and take all of these places. Make sure you go ahead and you drop all of your heroes in there. So there's a tier 2 right here. Same. So this is the team, and we're going through this warrior spec, which means the whole entire Abyssal expedition, we are going to be really catering and building up the warrior heroes, which again means that when it comes to the relic selection, it is going to be based on the warriors. The warriors are what we're looking to do here, guys, and the warriors are what we're looking to build. So again, adding another hero in here. And once we're done with these, so once we do run out of stamina with the pathing heroes, once we run out of stamina with the rest of the heroes that we have in here, we're actually going to take them, we're going to unslot them from the current position. We're going to slot them into those 80 stamina slots you've seen at the beginning. That way we do have the ability to continue farming out as we see right here, guys. So we got some tier 1s, we got some tier 2s. Remember, now we're at 330 essence an hour. 2 hours till we're actually going down and getting within the time. So I'm going to go ahead and put Entendre in here again. See if we can take some of these out. And depending on the heroes, guys, there are a few heroes that are very, very difficult for some of the heroes to take in here. Of course, the retaliation with Thorin is a very, very strong one. We also see when you're fighting Satrana and Anasta can be a little bit tough depending on how they are built. Orthos is another very strong one. Same goes with Flora. Flora is another one, guys, that Flora is very, very hard to kill. Orthos, because of that shielding aspect he possesses, another hero very hard to kill. And then, of course, Grez. If you let Grez scale, another one that is incredibly difficult to kind of get through. Again, we're going through getting a tier right here. So this is another tier 1 that we're picking up. And again, guys, we're trying to connect. That is the priority. Number 1 is connecting to the rest of your Abyssal Expedition team, making sure that you're not left behind. If you are left behind, you're going to spend an absorbent amount of stamina to go ahead and push through and catch up to where everyone is. Now, of course, right here, Snowy Maze, we're going to have to wait to pick up these blessed relics until we actually get to the point of being able to, and let's see where we connected to. It looks like a small connect here. I'm wondering, it looks like we have another player that's kind of coming online there. We have a couple more that's through here. So you know what? Trying to get to this point. So this is actually the boss point. But where can we kind of connect back here? It looks like we have some strong connections over on this side. Again, we have a dot there, and they might have actually connected and then dropped, or this might actually be, these might actually be different players, which all 3 of those are different players. It looks like this guy, path to his left. This one only took those 2, that one. And again, we're in here, and this one we're actually going through, and there we go. They're moving, they're going through here. But remember as well, guys, this one is, we didn't do the casual. We did the honorable enrollment in here to actually go through and start. That way, again, a lot more active players come in here through the honorable enrollment, and that's the big reason why we chose honorable. Of course, Ulna Brutus is very strong in here because Ulna has the immunity factor. When you start putting those relics behind it, makes a big difference. And again, I'm even trying to, as you can see, the players that are moving down here, I'm pathing, trying to go to this one essentially, but I'm hoping that this player down here sees. And if you pay attention, you can kind of see the direction that I'm going with the heroes that I'm running. You can kind of see, and they can come up, and it looks like it booted us out, guys. This happens considerably. It actually does happen quite a bit in the Abyssal Expedition. It just goes, I don't know what happens with it, but I do get kicked out. And this is really the only game mode that I see these disconnects. But sometimes the battle will completely reset. So sometimes I'll come in here, go back in the Abyssal Expedition. It'll run for a considerable time just fine. Or sometimes I will actually go through here, which it does not look like we won the battle in there. So this one, we're going to have to actually go again and notice and pay attention to who you're fighting. That's another big thing in this game mode, guys, is there's, again, some very strong heroes that are tough to take out. And there's some very, very strong defensive heroes, which, again, can be difficult. We've seen the same with Gorvo. Gorvo earlier with the shield, a little bit tough to take out. And even there, guys, we do lose Ulna on this one. So that yields us 1 star, which means we don't get as much stamina back as we have in the past. But again, I'm hoping that these players, these 2 players that we're kind of pathing to, will see that we're pathing down there and come join us. So it's not up to me utilizing all of my stamina on the heroes that I'm going through here with, but it's the ability to actually go through here and build these out. Now, fast forward, guys, when you do get to the point of having your tier 1s, tier 2s, tier 3s, tier 4s, whatever you can take before this quiet time ends, you can see we have 13 of 20 done in here, guys. Now, any of your regular pathing, so one that is not a village, that is not any of these, you can actually abandon these. Even though they do give you a little bit of resources, you can abandon those, because when you look at what you're getting out of here, looking here, guys, this gives you 30 an hour. Now, looking at our tier 1s, these give you 40 an hour plus a 20% bonus if we have light bearers in there. These yield us 60 an hour, 20% if we have a mauler. And then, of course, getting into the higher tier 3s, we're up to 80 an hour, but these do yield you rare relics. So there is a chance to drop rare relics. And then, of course, when you start getting into T4s, we have the rare relics, but it's up to 120 an hour. So essentially, you want to take the settlements before holding all of these wilderness paths, or just holding literally those single spots. You want to make sure that you're farming up all that you can. And look at that, guys. They connected right there to that main trunk line. So we could actually continue working our way down here till we hit this point. And again, we would merge essentially with everything that's down here. So I'm going to do just that, guys. We're going to continue going down to the bottom. Now, again, when these are out of stamina, when Entendre or Brutus and Alna run out of stamina, I'm going to go in there and we're going to change it up a little bit based on the builds that they have and based on the heroes that we do have built. And again, if I had a stronger hero, which we probably should have just put Rem in there, but I'll show you, guys, because we can put Rem in there, and Rem can be our farmer. Once Entendre is done, again, we're not going to be reslotting her, but we can definitely change it out. And Oden, guys, look at this. It's going to be tough to kill this group because we're not having the ability to actually ult. We're going to get it down. Again, timer-wise, we're not going to be there, but she still does get it done, which is awesome. Again, we want to go through all of the resources that we have currently. And I'll show you, then we're going to reslot. But like I said, guys, farming as high as you can, making sure that you stay usually in the yellow. So when you go to take a settlement, which I'll show you guys right now. So when you go to take a settlement, it does have a color that's assigned with it. Even here, guys, looking at this one is green, which means it'll be easy. Yellow means it's kind of on par. And then reds mean that they are way too tough. Majority of players cannot take the red settlements right off of the bat. Tier 4s, if you're a very, very high level player. Tier 5s are close to impossible from the very beginning, maybe if you get a really strong comp, because most players are running, you know, like we're seeing right here, guys, we're only running 2 heroes, which is by design. That is exactly why we're building it this way and why we're making our progression. So they are both out of stamina, which means we're going to have to swap them out. We're going to have to swap out exactly where they are. And as you can see, guys, Entendre is actually one-shotting some of the heroes in here, actually taking them out pretty quick. We're getting through there, getting through with Entendre. And there we go. So now look at our map, guys. We are all green. So it looks like the main raid is literally pushing through here. Tier 3s, tier 2s. Tier 3s are yellow. But again, it's yellow based on where I'm at, how strong my heroes are. So majority of players will go ahead and just skip those, knowing where we're at. Now, like I said, guys, if you look at these other slots right here, I'm going to go ahead and remove both of these. Those will empty out my slots. Here we are going to do the same. So I'm going to drop Brutus in here. And you know what? I'm going to try Rem. I'm going to try Rem with Alna just because, again, we have a really, really strong team. This might be a good combination. I haven't tested it. And then, of course, Anissa is still going to be the one that we're going to move. But let's go ahead and grab some of these. Here's a tier 2. You know what? Let me try a tier 3. Let's see where we got a tier 3 lined up, which I know a lot of players do grab those tier 3s pretty quick. I don't know if just with 2, again, looking at the 6 to the 16 million in there, this is probably going to be a pretty tough. Now in here, guys, slow down the timers and just wait to see, because essentially if you lose, you can't reattack. That's one of the big things, guys. So even at this game mode is we want to see if we can get to the point. See, we're not going to have enough to get through here. Where, see, we're going to go ahead and exit this battle, which means that we didn't lose. So again, we're going back to the tier 2s until we get to the point of being able to build those. And again, if the Rem and Ulna doesn't work out, we can swap Brutus back into this one. But I was hoping, because Rem's built up pretty high as well. There we go. We can get through the tier 2s, tier 3s at this point with just 2 heroes is going to be a little bit challenging, but I'm okay with that. So that means, guys, tier 2s, again, tier 2s, tier 3s are kind of our limits. So we're going to grab up all of these tier 2s. Now, essentially what we want to do, well, we can only get 20, because remember, we're limited right now to just getting 20 of our settlements, which means with the 20 settlements we're going to take 20 tier 2s, and that's where we're going to stay until essentially quiet time ends. And then we're going to be able to start accumulating resources, which now we're up to over 1,000 resources, which is very cool to see based on our build. So we have an hour 30 left here. And again, we're going to continue. Make sure you stay with the bulk. Make sure you stay pathing. Make sure you stay with the Abyssal expedition that is going on in here. And guys, let me know in the comments what you guys think. We're going to be going through this every single day. We're going to go ahead and use all the rest of our stamina. And again, Antandro, once she's out, we're going to back her this way while we're moving these 2 heroes forward. And essentially, all of this stamina is going to be used either to take places, or I'm going to slot a team in there. We're going to look at Zero's boss guide. We're probably going to slot a boss team in here that we're just going to sit on based on the build and know exactly what we're doing in a little bit when it comes to the boss. So, all right, guys, so that is going to do it for today's video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. And as always, thank you guys for watching.